So I'm just going to be outlining my fairy house, so feel free to fast forward through this with the settings. But remember, as you draw your own, it should be in pencil first, and you want it to be a whimsical style art, so fairy-like, fancy, and playful. So think about things that could be in the environment of your fairy house. What features does a house have? A door, a window, a roof. What kinds of things could be used for those things? Those features of a house. So for example, my house is a mushroom, there are dragonflies, there is a leaf for an umbrella. So think about maybe what parts of nature could be used as parts of your house as you draw and create. I'm going to be painting, so tune back in for that part, but just outline everything in thin Sharpie. So as we begin to paint, you're going to be setting up your space. So we're going to use semi-moist watercolors. So keep in mind they will be dry until you activate them with water, and 3 different brushes. So you'll have various brushes in size, round and flat brushes. So it is personal preference. You're going to want a paper towel as well for drying your brush in between colors. Maybe you don't want it to be so wet. And you're also going to want a cup of water. Usually I use a yogurt container, any cup. You're going to swirl the water around in the palette of the color that you want to use first. So I'm using brown first because I'm going to be painting the tree. I dip my brush in the water. I swirl it around the watercolor tablet and I begin painting. So you want to start along the edge of whatever you're painting, because that will give you the most control. And you'll see that the less paint I have on there, the lighter the color. So the more water, the lighter the color as well. So you'll see as I kind of reactivate my paint, I might add a little bit more water as I go. The less water you have, the more pigmented the watercolor is going to be. So if you want a darker color, you're going to want to use less water, although you will need water to activate your watercolors. So I'm just going to start filling it in. I'm using more water, less paint to kind of pull the pigment and fill the tree. So as I change colors, I'm washing my brush, I'm swirling it around in the color that I'm going to use next. Currently I'm kind of testing it on my paper towel. If you have an extra paper, you can also test. You can mix in the cover of your watercolor palette, so you'll see I do that at some point as well, but I'm using the edge, I'm painting around because I have the most control when I first start if I'm not using that much water. If I have a lot of water on my brush, I have less control. So for a larger space, so the middle of my mushroom here, I might use more water, but around the edge, you want to use less water. Water tends to puddle, so keep that in mind. Remember, we are using watercolor paper, so it's textured, so it can keep the puddles of water where they are. Remember not to tip your paper or pick it up, because the water will drip down. So you want to make sure that your paper is flat, your space is clean as you work on your painting. So I'm going to let you watch. I'm just going to keep painting. You'll see at some point I mix the paint colors, so you can use the top to do that. Remember to keep your brush clean. So you're using the bottom of the cup to swirl your brush around. To make sure it's clean, use the paper towel to make sure your space is clean as well. Vary the size of your brush depending on the details that you are painting. So I'm using a teeny tiny brush for the small details, and I'm really not using much water because I do not want it to spread. So be smart about where you're painting and focus and relax. Feel free to speed up this video as I paint, pause as you go to make sure you are working alongside me, and have fun. I hope you enjoy this project.